Wow, what a day this turned out to be, huh? Thank you all so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes podcast. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah here with Craig and Shawn. We gave PD the day off. Whoa, and we did not give Drake the day off. But PDU is busy. He was up to something at the Ice Den this morning. More to come on that next week. You know, PD's always up to something. But Craig, hot off the press, Coyotes GM Bill Armstrong extended to a multi-year extension that you now know the details of.
Yeah, I knew he was under contract for 2 more years, and the second year was an option. What happens is the team picked that up and extended him 3 more years. He's under contract for 5 years. So what this allows Bill Armstrong to do is, I mean, listen, you never know in this business, right? Just because you're under contract doesn't mean you're going to finish it. But the idea here is to give Bill Armstrong the opportunity to finish what he started. You get that deep down the road. They're out of the rebuild at that point, presumably, at least by and large. It doesn't mean they're, contending for a Stanley Cup quite yet, but you're out of the rebuild. You've had all of those draft picks that you've stacked on top of each other. A lot of those prospects are flooding into the system, and you have the opportunity to see the fruits of your labor.
Absolutely. I guess we should talk a little bit about what Bill Armstrong has accomplished in his tenure here so far. And we can start with, let's start with his draft picks, because I feel like that's kind of been the bread and butter. And if you're watching on YouTube here, you have this very wordy graphic. Josh Doan, Dylan Guenther.
Gee, I wonder who put that graphic together with all those words.
Julian Lutz, Artem Duda, Maverick Lamoureux, Connor Geeky, Logan Cooley, Michael Vrabel, Daniel Boot, Dmitry Simashev. And that's only the top
2 rounds, yeah.
2 rounds.
Yeah, I just did the top 2 rounds. Otherwise, it gets crazy.
I know, but
there will be guys who rise from those other rounds as well.
Exactly. So. But, Bill Armstrong's talked a ton about acquiring and draft picks and using them to either draft players like this or obtain other assets. And that's kind of been his MO since he stepped in here. I think the tide is shifting a little bit. We've talked a lot about what the team's going to look like this year and maybe this next phase of the rebuild they're entering. But, I mean, this is an impressive list of talented prospects, and this is all on GMBA's watch.
Yeah, and then you add them to their existing core of players like Clayton Keller, Matthias Michelli, Lawson Krause, JJ Mosier. We'll see about Nick Schmaltz if he's around for this, but you start to see all the pieces falling into place. We've talked a lot about them still wanting to add maybe a little bit more to their center depth chart, to their blue line, but we know they have the draft picks over the first 2 rounds of the next 3 drafts, 13 in total, to acquire those players, at least the prospects.
Yeah, it's insane what he's done. Just the number of draft picks per year has been absolutely wild.
Thanks for noticing, Tim. Yes, new glasses.
Yes, looking very
good,
Craig.
When I put them on yesterday after I got home from the eye doctor, my wife looked at me and said, "Why are you wearing my glasses?" Which really made me feel good about my glass choice. But Leah and Shawn have done a good job of pumping up my confidence today on the show. They're lying to me. So.
No, I'm not. I really like them. I really do. Well, that's his draft picks. We can now talk about his signings and waiver pickups. And I think especially this offseason, he's really stepped up his game. And we'll go recent to the past, obviously adding Jason Zucker, Matt Dumba, Alex Kerfoot, bringing back Nick Bukestad, extending Matthias Michelli, extending Jack McBain, signing Logan Cooley, extending Lawson Krause, and then picking up Connor Ingram and Yusuf Alamaki on waivers. And all of this is just...
Yeah, both of those got extended as well, so yeah.
Yeah, and all of this is just in the last, year-ish, pretty much a year. It's just incredible what he's done. Incredible, even just in 2023, what's been done. So to add this layer and element to his bag on top of all of the draft stuff, it's impressive.
Yeah, and for the first time this offseason, you can look at free agent signings for GMs over their tenure, but for the first time this offseason, they were making a legitimate effort to make waves in the free agent market. Obviously, that wasn't the goal the first couple of seasons when they were trying to acquire picks and trying to be bad, let's be honest, and draft as high as possible. But now you go out and convince guys like Dumba and Zucker and Kerfoot and even Nick Bukestad and Troy Stecher to come back. It says a lot about the direction of this team from a hockey operations standpoint.
Absolutely. And lastly, he's made some significant trades that have brought in some players that we're all super familiar with. Obviously, back in 2021, acquiring Andrew Ladd and a second-round draft choice that turned into one JJ Mosier. And all of that was for nothing.
Still blown away when I read the details of that trade. It's just unreal.
Yeah, a 2022 second round pick, a 2023 third round pick for the Islanders, again for nothing. In 2022, acquiring defenseman Patrick Nemeth, a 2025 second round pick, a 2026 second round pick from the Rangers for Ty Emberson. I don't know if anyone is pining over that loss, no offense. 2022, acquiring Zach Cassian, shout out Alltex, a 2022 second round pick that turned into Maverick Lamru because they did some movements. A 2025 second round pick, a 24 third round pick, and a 2022 second round pick.
Yeah, they sort of swapped.
Yes. And then, of course, the most recent blockbuster, which was the trade of Jacob Chikrin to Ottawa for a 2023 first round pick that turned into Daniil Boot, and a 2024 second round pick and a 2026 second round pick. Woo! So wheeling and dealing, Bill Armstrong. That was too much to put on a graphic, by the way. Just a lot of picks thrown in there.
He has been a busy man. And by the way, the offseason is just about over, and the Coyotes have not stopped making news, which is great for us on this show, right? There's always content for us to talk about, but we're on September 6th here. We're about to go to Australia, and every few days it seems like there's a major piece of news coming out for the Coyotes.
Yeah, it's been and I feel like this seems to be the attitude of the fans, at least in our diehard Discord. But after the arena vote, like everything has been positive. Everything. It's crazy what's happened this offseason, and it makes me so upset because if the arena vote had gone well, like this might be the best offseason in Coyotes history.
Without question. And we talked about this right when this offseason started, talked about how pivotal this offseason would be, and that's the one strike. Unfortunately it's been a recurring theme with this franchise. The arena piece has not been cemented. We're hoping that it's going to be cemented soon.
That would be the great news to cap off the summer of news.
Yeah.
Would be something not just an LOI, but something more concrete.
Not just an LOI, yes. Actually something concrete. A deal.
Yeah.
A deal in place without a public vote necessary. Yes. Let's do that.
Yeah. But that's what he's accomplished so far. But Craig, you mentioned, I mean, it can't be that hard to come in and completely tear down a team. Obviously it is. I don't want to say that I'm not giving him the credit because of what he was able to leverage with all of these moves. But now it's the real challenge, because just like we talked about with Andre Tourigny, it's easier. There's less pressure maybe to come in and be a coach of a tanking team. Same thing with the GM. And now he has to see these picks, these signings pay off. We've already seen evidence of that given, some of the guys in the past few years who are already huge parts of this team. But now that, the pressure starts to build for both him and for Andre Tourigny to kind of, have a return on all the groundwork that they've laid.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. And listen, I've heard some people say this is the easy part. I don't want to sell short what's happened here so far, what Bill Armstrong has accomplished and what Andre Tourigny has accomplished, because this is not an easy thing what they have done, especially some of the deals that they have made, right? But also you think about the complexity of scouting, what they did to go see the Russians. This is by no means easy, but I understand what people are talking about when they say the teardown is, that's the first step. Anybody can do a teardown. Doesn't mean they can do it well. You have to draft well, but now you start to see the proof, right? Okay, was it all worth it? Did they make the right moves? Did they draft the right guys? Did they put the right people in place in their scouting department or in their development staff? All of that, all of those chickens will come to roost now, right? In the next few seasons, we'll really know if they finally nailed the rebuild. But the one thing that I would say about this particular rebuild is at least they've seen it through. And I know some people thought, well, they should have sold off some pieces. They shouldn't have signed Connor Ingram last year. You can make that argument. There's a fair argument that they should have tried to finish even lower in the standings. But there was also the balance of trying to have the right people in the room, trying to support your staff as best you could too, right? They saw how badly the goaltending situation worked before they brought in Scott Wedgwood. Andre Tourigny asked to have two competent goaltenders. It was fair to the team to know that they had two guys back there who could stop the puck. So you make concessions. You can't go. It's never a black and white story when you're analyzing these rebuilds and the decisions that get made. Would it have been great if they had managed to get Connor Bedard? Obviously, it would have been better if they had got Connor Bedard. But you make some concessions to try and keep the current core happy, keep the coaching staff happy, keep the fan base happy. All of that stuff comes into play. And that's what makes a GM's job so damn complicated.
Yeah, it's more than just, hey, here's your job. Like, you're dealing with so much stuff. And also, to give him even more credit about what he did, I mean, the Andrew Ladd trade for all for nothing, the Goss Despair trade all for nothing.
Yeah,
like,
we didn't even mention that
yeah,
one.
like it's almost like chestnut checkers in a way. Even the taking on Zach Kassian and, you know, turning that into Maverick Lamoureux, who's now one of the most exciting defensive prospects in the Arizona Coyotes system. Yeah. All of these were moves that, you know, Bill Armstrong's been on our show and he's talked about when he's thinking about the moves he's making, he's not thinking about just this year. He's thinking about 2, 3, 4, even 5 years from now, and the effect that all of these moves are going to have on the build and the makeup of the team going forward. And I think that's what makes a good GM. And I think, you know, for him to be rewarded with this multi-year extension, now he has the chance to follow through on those plans that he's made for 3, 4, 5 years down the road. So it ends in what year, Craig?
Well, I just got an update. I'm told that the final contract is actually 28. Final year of the contract is actually 28-29. So that's a long time. I'm tweeting that right now, by the way.
That's why he's typing away. Yeah, and this is why our show was late, by the way, because we were figuring out a few things. Craig was getting like 10,000 phone calls in a row, but it was necessary because now we have the news to talk about. 28-29, hopefully they're settled into a new Valley location, new arena. With a hopefully a playoff team, maybe the start of a cup contending window. Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's exciting, but yeah, it's so funny. Like, the news came in this morning, and I'm so used to, like, every morning waking up to a press release like, this coach has been extended. This coach, it's like every day. So when Bill Armstrong's been extended, I was like, oh yeah, like, here's today's extension, and I kind of did a double take where I was like, wait a sec, this is different than the coaching staff. Yeah, I mean, the hockey side, the future of the hockey side of this organization is really very exciting.
It really is. And we can't emphasize that enough. Look, the draft is a crapshoot, right? You never know. They've spent the resources to hire a really good scouting staff. They've obviously put in the time, as that story from the draft, scouting the 2 Russians at the top of the draft, really underscored. They've spent the resources to put a development staff in place with Lee Stempniak at the top. But again, you're evaluating 17 and 18-year-old kids. So there are a lot of variables that you just can't predict. You just can't do it. But from every other standpoint, when you look at what the hockey operations staff has done, and I'm not just talking about Bill Armstrong now or David Ludwig or their scouting staff or their development staff, you got to talk about the coaching staff as well. They're doing it really well, Leah. They've made a lot of really good hires in this organization. Bill has made a lot of good hires. The Morelos and Javier Gutierrez decision to hire Bill Armstrong looks like a really good decision as well. It feels to me, as someone who's covered this team for so long, it feels like this is the most complete hockey operations staff that this franchise has ever had. And some of that, I don't want to discredit the work of people in the past. There have been some really good people under staff with this organization in the past. A lot of it was due to resources, right? But for the first time, it feels like, okay, at least this side of it is solved. Now it's time. It's overdue for ownership to get the arena piece put together.
Yep. It needs to happen. And once that happens, then, like, the haters will be weeping that they can't hate on anything anymore. So congrats to Bill Armstrong, the #1 GM in sports. If you know, you know. 10 Ply said, I know I'm late, but did Petey not make it out of the Tempe landfill? He's safe and sound. He was at the Ice Den this morning for some exciting content.
Oh, I thought he was in quarantine for a while.
I mean, yeah, maybe we should all stay away from him for a few days. But one other piece of news that came through literally while we were trying to get live on the show, it's a smaller piece of news, I guess, but still one to note, and it is that Liam Kirk, the first ever guest of the PHNX Coyotes podcast almost 2 years ago, is on unconditional waivers.
Which, of course, means they're getting out of his contract.
Yeah.
So Liam Kirk, I mean, you could see the writing on the wall when he couldn't find time in Tucson and they opted to send him over to Liga in Finland to play over there. I had a sense at that point that it was probably over for Liam Kirk. And look, he was a long shot anyways, 7th round draft pick, right? What are the chances that those guys are going to end up in the NHL anyway? They're very slim, right? But it was just such a good story, right?
I know.
UK raised player that got drafted and even earned himself an ELC from Bill Armstrong because he worked so hard, wanted it so badly, and was so committed. And that just impressed them so much that they decided to give him that contract. But in the end, it just didn't work out for Liam Kirk.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not the end of his career and, great person. And we'll cheer him
play in
on.
Europe, man.
Yeah.
It's a good life playing in Europe. Go ahead. He was pretty good over there last year. So stick with it and enjoy the fruits of living in Europe. Man, I think sometimes that would be a really, really good life. And I've had a number of players tell me the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there was a lot of news to get to in the start of this show, but one of the reasons we are gathered here today is to talk a little Calder Trophy action. CHGO Blackhawks already engaging with us on Twitter because we are going to make a case why Logan Cooley might be able to take Connor Bedard head-to-head in the Calder Trophy running, as well as discuss some other Calder Trophy candidates. But before we get there, you can bet on all of these awards over at BetMGM. There's odds up already on the Hart Trophy, on the Vezina, on the Norris Trophy, and I'm sure they'll continue to add more. So the best time for me, in my opinion, is to get your future money out is before the season starts, because then the lines start changing. You don't know what's coming. So get your money in there now. And we have a really exciting promo right now over at BetMGM. If you haven't signed up yet, you can use the bonus code PHNX. It's super, super easy to do. Even PD and Craig can do it. That's a knock at your technology.
That is completely fair too.
Yeah.
And also my ability with this sort of app in particular.
Yes.
So, yeah.
All you do is place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the BetMGM Sportsbook mobile application of at least $10. Not too bad. And you'll receive $200 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. Literally, it doesn't matter. You just place $10 on anything. You either win it and get $200 or you lose it and get $200. I mean, it's a win-win either way. And then you can go on betting, in my opinion, the best time to bet on the sports calendar, with the NFL back tomorrow and NBA and NHL around the corner. So again, use code PHNX when you sign up for BetMGM. And now you can listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
Earlier in the chat, Joel said, tell Bill to get us that cup. You know which one. No, not a Polar Pop from Circle K. Yeah, but if Bill wants to get that too, he can, because you can just walk into any Circle K and get yourself a Polar Pop. And Circle K's are all over the valley. So stop by Circle K. And now you can join the Inner Circle, which is Circle K's new free membership program that saves you 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. That is an absolute steal. And you get every 6 free on a selection of Circle K products, pizza, coffee, ice cold fountain drinks, and more. So join the Inner Circle today. Sean's done it. Saul's done it. A ton of us have done it. And we have, Shawn saved money on gas already. So we're not just telling you something that's not true. It is literally true. We have all done it. So you can join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. All right. Well, Connor Bedard. We all know Connor Bedard. I know.
We have like CHGO on this show watching now.
Yeah, CHU if you're here. I know Connor Bedard, he's a big deal, and he's definitely the odds-on favorite to win the Calder. The Calder odds are not up on BetMGM at this particular moment, but we have seen Calder odds on other books, and he is, minus odds. which is crazy considering they haven't played a single game yet. Connor Bedard, he's going to be playing on a Chicago Blackhawks team that is frankly not going to be very good again this year. It kind of reminds me a little bit about when Sidney Crosby got drafted by the Penguins and his first season with the Penguins were horrific. Like, they were awful. And that same year, and a lot of this had to do with the lockout, but Alex Ovechkin happened to be a rookie the same year as Sidney Crosby. And actually, Sidney Crosby did not win the Calder Trophy. And Sidney Crosby went on to have an extremely prolific career. So I'm just saying, is it necessarily a lock for Bedard to win the Calder?
Yeah, I mean, depth-wise, the Blackhawks, they're not very good. They're not very good. But, I was talking to, in case you're here, Jay Zawoski from CHGO, I hate saying sister station. I don't know why that has always bothered me.
Cousin station?
Maybe our cousin. Yeah, we'll just call you Cuz.
Cuz.
Yeah. Jay said that Taylor Hall is an almost a near certainty to play on Connor Bedard's line. Taylor Hall is a very gifted offensive player. They could put up a lot of points together, and then we'll see if it's Lucas Reichel or if it's somebody like Taylor Radish or Andreas Athanasiou. I hate saying that.
That one's tough
so much. But he's going to play with some pretty good talent, at least in terms of line mates. They're going to support him with pretty good line mates. So there is the potential for him to have a pretty big offensive season in Chicago. But you're right, with what else they have right now, he's also going to get a lot of attention from other teams. They're going to be focused very much on shutting down that line to beat the Blackhawks. So those are the things that I think you consider when talking about Connor Bedard, aside from the fact that he's Connor Bedard. He's a generational player. He's one of those rare players that comes along where everyone's like, oh my God, this is one of those guys that, and we'll see if he's in, I'm not going to put him in the Gretzky, Lemieux, Sidney Crosby stratosphere yet, but he's one of those players that's viewed as not just a number one center or a superstar. He's viewed as a generational player. So that's the reason that he's, without a doubt, the odds-on favorite to win the Calder Trophy as Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
I get it, but there's just so many things that could happen. And you mentioned his line mates, you mentioned his team, you mentioned the focus he's going to get from other players. The truth is, we don't know. Like, we haven't watched Connor Bedard play an NHL game yet. And I think the we don't know part is why, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a lock. I don't know. I know when Logan Cooley signed here, a lot of people in our chat were joking, like, Cooley for Calder, and I was kind of dismissive of it. But why not? Like, why not? This is an extremely, extremely interesting rookie class, and we'll talk about some of those other guys later, but you have Luke Hughes, you have Adam Fantilli, Devin Levi. We'll talk about them a little bit later in the show. But, I mean, just because Connor Bedard...
I'll put him on for you, buddy.
Yeah, Sean's going to get on the mic for Devin Levi, just you wait. But just because Connor Bedard is a generational talent doesn't mean he's going to have a generational rookie season. I think Connor Bedard, I think he's going to win Hart trophies. I think he's going to win Rocket Richard trophies. He's going to win a ton of stuff in his career. But I don't know. Is the Calder a lock when he's on a bad team?
Never a lock. You just never know.
Never a lock.
Never
so
know.
With that, the other odds, let's talk about Logan Cooley, Craig, because Logan Cooley is also a rookie. Logan Cooley is also a top draft pick in last year's draft. I don't know. I feel like there's a case for Logan Cooley to win the Calder, and I think one of the first things we need to talk about is the Coyotes are going to be a better team than the Blackhawks this year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be playing with more potentially, we don't actually know.
Yeah.
More talented players.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be playing with more talented players offensively. I think they're going to try and protect him. I think, when I talked to Bill about this, he said you almost have to in this situation. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, you got to put him between Keller and Schmaltz. If you listen to PD break down how lines are constructed, you would know why that's a bad idea. You don't have anybody who's going to be able to take faceoffs, play down low in the zone. You don't want to put all of that on Logan Cooley yet. You don't want him facing the biggest matchups. There's a lot of things, defensively. What are you doing with that line? There are a lot of things that come into consideration. But again, Bill saying you probably need to protect him tells me you're thinking about putting veterans around him. Maybe a guy like Jason Zucker plays with him. Maybe Lawson Krause plays with him. We'll see how they shake out the lines, if they want to keep the Krause-Michelli pairing together or if they want to do something else. But I do think they're going to give him some veteran presence to help him, to shepherd him to NHL adulthood. Not that playing with Jason Zucker is a bad thing. He's a talented player. He's a very good player. But Taylor Hall was he's a former number 1 draft pick. And I always wondered with Taylor Hall, if he had stayed in Edmonton, if they had kept him and he had played with Connor McDavid, would he have scored 50 goals? Because he's that talented a player. So, but flip side, Logan Cooley's going to get some power play time. He's going to be a top 6 forward on this team. So he's going to get opportunity. And the other thing that I think about when I think about young players is I look at this coaching staff and just how much Andre Tourigny and his staff have been able to help the development of young players. We've seen several players take not just small steps, they've taken big steps under Andre Tourigny. So there's your case for Logan Cooley, in my opinion.
Absolutely. It's too bad Dylan Guenther is not eligible. Would have been fun to have a couple.
I think like 8 games too many, right?
Yeah. Couple of Coyotes in the Calder conversation. Obviously, I mean, Matias Michelli kind of came out of nowhere in the Calder conversation last season, and Matias Michelli is a 4th round draft pick. So now you have 3rd overall draft pick Logan Cooley in the mix. When you look at the Coyotes prospect pools, I think he's definitely their highest rated prospect across the board, no matter who you ask. I don't know. Maybe the pressure is on for Cooley. Maybe it'll be a little less pressure being in a market like Arizona rather than a market like Chicago. Who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, these kids are kids. Like, they are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. Who knows how they're going to perform under pressure? Who knows how they're going to perform against men when they're used to, in Bedard's case, junior, and Cooley's case, college. I mean, it's going to be an adjustment. And Tim made a good point in the chat. McDavid never won the Calder. Granted, he had some injury issues his freshman season, so you can't really knock him too much. But again, there's just so many factors in an NHL season that you are out of your control and you don't know. So you can't say Bedard's a lock. I'm not sitting here saying Logan Cooley's going to win over Bedard and that you should put your money on it today. But you can put your money on it today and get a great value if he does end up winning. You could even do a weenie bet and get some great value if he does end up winning the Calder. Somebody tweeted at the PHNX Coyotes account when we tweeted about our show today and said, you can be leading the rookies in points, and you would still have to have a beast mode season to win the Calder as an Arizona Coyotes player. And you know what? That is an absolute valid point, because I think we all, feel, maybe not all, but I do, that Michelli was robbed of a Calder nomination.
A finalist. Yeah,
finalist.
He should have been top 3. He should have been top 3.
And maybe a certain goalie shouldn't have been on the list. But
we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Because usually they get overlooked, but somehow last year they got overhyped.
Yeah. And we'll see. This is a really, really, really strong rookie class, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. But again, we talked about Bill Armstrong's extension. We talked about Andre Tourigny's extension, just the excitement going forward about the Arizona Coyotes on the ice. Obviously, the arena, it's all hanging over us, I know, but the hockey side the future is really bright. It's really exciting. And this will just be one thing that we're going to follow this season. Of course, we're going to keep our eye on Connor Bedard. Of course we are. And of course, we're going to keep our eye on Logan Cooley in relation to Connor Bedard, besides just following Cooley in his rookie season to begin with. So lots of things to look forward to this season. I can't wait for hockey season to get going here. And like I said, the future's bright. So you might want to take out your Shady Rays, Craig.
Taking them to Australia.
And, you got your new glasses. Thank you. Actually can do
These are actually my wife's glasses.
Yeah. They actually can do prescription sunglasses on Shady Rays. So if
which you guys had to explain to me the last time. I felt so stupid.
Yeah. But if you're someone who says, I need to get prescription sunglasses, I can't just wear any old sunglasses. Well, Shady Rays, they can do it. They also have blue light glasses. I feel like I don't mention that enough. If you're staring at a screen all day, they have that as well. But check out Shady Rays. Great styles, so many colors, something for everyone. Look, Craig's changing up his style a little bit. Who says you don't want to try something new? It'll look good. Just like Craig's glasses look. And that is not, I am being genuine about that. So check out Shady Rays. They stand by their product. If you don't love them, you can return or exchange free within 30 days. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. My name is Fat Mike said that was a flawless transition, just like Shady Rays transition lenses. Thank you. My name is Fat Mike. I don't have a good transition for this one, but FOCO is one of our faves here at PHNX. We're here in the commish studio. Ton of this stuff on the shelf behind us. By the way, did you see that Petey snuck in Andre Tourigny's maple syrup onto the shelf?
That's great.
So now that is on our shelf, but that is not from FOCO. Everything else is though. So check out FOCO.
We're gonna start collecting cans. So go ahead.
No, it's gonna become a thing for sure. So well, if I don't eat it all first, I might just steal it.
We're gonna start selling it, like because Andre won't sell them because he's that kind of guy.
We can sell them for like crazy prices.
We'll just disguise our names. Yeah.
FOCO, they have the best officially licensed gear for all sports and fandoms, apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, novelty items, and more. So get in the spirit of your favorite team season starting, because unless you're only a baseball fan, everything is about to start. So check out FOCO. They have your back for Arizona sports, and you can get the best gear around by visiting foco.com. That's FOCO.com and using code PHNX. And for all non-presale items, use the promo code PHNX for 10% off. All right, let's talk about this rookie class, because there are some other names in the mix here that are intriguing, if not also going to give Logan Cooley, maybe Bedard doesn't have the season, but it may be someone like, I don't know, Luke Hughes, Adam Fantilli, Devin Levi. You have David Jiricek, Simon Nemec, Brant Clark, Matthew Nyes is in the mix here.
Yeah.
Craig, you reached out to quite a few beat writers for their opinions on these guys, so I'm going to let you pass on what you've heard.
I just wanted to get a sense of role, potential line mates or D partners for some of these guys, or, obviously Devin Levi is an entirely different thing, but we'll get to all of them. But so first off, just shout out to all these beat writers. God, I love beat writers because we have such a great network around the NHL, and I can send a text and get a reply within like 10 minutes with just detailed information. Support beat writers around the country. They're your lifeblood for information if you love sports. From Aaron Porcelain, who covers the Blue Jackets for The Athletic, when I asked him about Adam Fantilli and David Jiricek, no clue on either one. Adam Fantilli is going to get a spot high in the lineup, but his wingers are a total mystery. Of course, there's a coaching change there, so you really don't know what to expect from a new coach. But he did say Patrick Laine, Kirill Marchenko, Johnny Gaudreau are all possible. Jiricek is probably 60-40 to make the team. So those are better than 50-50 odds, but not exactly a lock. He could be on the top pair opposite Zach Werenski eventually, but he may start on the third pair with Eric Goodbranson. That's talk about like opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of the type of defenseman you might be playing with. Wow. Okay. So a lot in doubt there. We'll see about those guys, but obviously Adam Fantilli was considered the consolation prize if you didn't get Connor Bedard in this draft. And
Anaheim said, actually, we'll take Leo Carlsson.
Yeah, exactly. They took Leo Carlsson instead, who's I didn't even see in the odds, interestingly enough. I looked up a couple odds, and Leo Carlsson was not mentioned. So I found that really interesting. If Fantilli plays with Johnny Gaudreau, like and Patrick Laine, he's got a chance to put up some mega points. Do they want to put him in that situation right away? I don't know.
Let's call Mike Babcock and ask.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get back to us. But this is a big two-way center, so there's the expectation eventually that he can do a lot. He can be that number one guy and give you that 200-foot game. From Ryan Novosinski, who's a Devils beat writer for NJ.com. Luke Hughes is a lock to make this team. Will probably be placed with John Moreno on the second pair. Simone Nemec, not so much a lock to make this team. He's very good, but Lindy seems leery about putting two 19-year-olds on the blue line, so it will likely be Kevin Ball and Colin Miller or Brendan Smith on the bottom pair. Kevin Ball, of course, familiar to Coyotes fans as well, because he went that way in the Taylor Hall trade long ago. Here's what David Alter, from who covers the Maple Leafs for SI and the Hockey News, had to say about Matthew Nyes. It's probably too early just because there's so many newcomers. Tyler Bertuzzi's a slam dunk top six, likely with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. Matty Nyes could go with John Tavares and Willie Nylander, which would be a hell of a line and give him an opportunity for a lot of points. Or he could be on the third line, possibly with Max Domi and David Camp, which is an entirely different situation, especially what the expectations will be for that line. So in the limited sample size, Nye kind of bounced around all over the top 9 last year. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Couple more here, just for Brant Clark. I talked to Eric Stevens, Kings beat writer for The Athletic, and he said Clark is expected to play on the third defense pair this season and could also see time on the second power play. That does not sound like a Calder Trophy candidate to me, unless he takes a quantum leap during the season and moves up. You're not going to get the points and the Calder votes on the third pair. You're just not playing enough minutes or in the role that allows you to do that. And then the last one for Shawn DePaz, who should get on the mic now because we're going to talk about Devin Levi. Lance Lesowski, who's the Sabres beat writer for the Buffalo News, said he's competing for the starting job in camp. Let's be honest. He's going to be the starter. Their plan, barring any unexpected developments, is to run with Levi in, your favorite name to say?
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Yeah. As Lance said, they couldn't find an upgrade over Luukkonen because they were unwilling to trade assets for a rental or give someone like Jonas Korpisalo a 5-year contract. So it sounds like Devin Levi is going to be the starter for the Buffalo Sabres. If this team can defend better, he could be in the running. And if voters will actually give attention to a goalie for a second straight year, that would be crazy, right?
I mean, that's my thing, as I feel like last year the voters showed that they are willing to give love to a goalie, even if he doesn't deserve it.
He played in Canada.
Yeah, he did play in Canada. But the Sabres are going to be a lot better this year. I think they're going to make the playoffs. They upgraded their defenseman. I mean, if you want to call it an upgrade with Eric Johnson and then Connor Clifton, but their blue line is going to be better, which was like always been their big thing. He played a lot at the end of the year, played 7 games, I believe. And it's like Skinner's stats weren't that good compared to what Devin Levi should be capable of. Plus, Devin Levi's pads are sick. They're sick, and that matters.
Shoe in for the Calder.
No, but honestly, I think the Sabres are going to be better. They're going to make the playoffs, and I think they're going to be better than even the people who think they're going to make the playoffs think they're going to be, because again, they improved their blue line. They're like the youngest team, one of the youngest teams in hockey, and they're all older. Deline is rumored to be getting an extension soon, so hopefully that gives them a little bit of an extra umph, and not the other way around. But I just think the Sabres are going to be better, specifically defensively, and Devin Levi is already a great goalie in the limited time that he showed. So if the blue line's better and he's good, and the Sabres make the playoffs and end the longest drought in the NHL, like I feel like there's a lot of things that voters might like to give Devin Levi a little bit of love.
He's such an interesting case too. Yeah. He was unquestionably the top goaltender in college hockey.
Drafted in the 7th round.
Yeah, amazing, right? But just he really, really was terrific. And he was starting at ahead of TJ Semptivel. Who ended up going to ASU, but you're playing behind the best goalie in college hockey.
To be fair, like Levi was playing good teams at the end of the year. He played Carolina, the Rangers, the Devils, the Senators, the Blue Jackets. So I mean, there was a lot of 2, but like, and he only lost 2 games, I believe. So he was 5-2 over the 7 games he played. Like, he's gonna be pretty good. And I mean, yeah, like you said, based on what the beat writer said, it doesn't sound like they're super committed to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. So, which kind of makes me sad because I'm a fan of his. But I feel like Devin Levi is going to be that guy this year. So I like it. I think he has a shot.
Do you think you'll put money on it?
Oh, yeah. I'm putting money on that and the Vezina. He's going.
Vezina, wow.
Why not?
That's aggressive.
Yeah, I mean.
Plus 5,000
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
why. The odds are good. Why not?
Listen, if this team defends better, he could certainly be in the Calder Trophy conversation at least. I don't think he's going to be in the Vezina conversation.
Yeah,
that would be save your money there, but
a little dramatic. But I was like, you look at the biggest. I mean, the defense for the Sabres is the biggest question. They're young as hell. Like, it's Deline, who's 23, Owen Power. But that's another thing I wanted to bring up, because you mentioned like the Coyotes coaching staff and how good they are with youth. Like that is the Sabres right now. They're all young, and Owen Power finished 2nd in Calder voting last year, and he's 20 years old. So the Sabres have shown that they're pretty decent at doing that. Hopefully they can do it with a goaltender too.
All right. Let us know in the chat who you think the 3 finalists will be for the Calder Trophy after the season. Lebowski said Nyes, Bedard, and Cooley. Tenply said Bedard, Nyes, and Cooley also. So interesting. Couple Arizona ties.
It's also sad I have to hate Matt Nyes now.
Because he's a Leaf.
He's a Leaf. I cannot root for him. So he's not finishing anywhere near the top of this race.
Well, regardless, it's a very intriguing rookie class this season, and another great storyline to watch, not just for the Coyotes, but around the league, to see how these rookies do and how their teams do, how they contribute to their teams. It's rare for a rookie to come in and, make a splash right away. That's the rarity. That's why there's a trophy for it. But we shall see. And as 10 Play says, Cooley, after he puts up 200 points, so they have to notice, we'll finish third. Again, 200. This is, I mean, I get what you're saying.
Wins the scoring race, but finishes third in Calder Trophy voting. Yeah,
I mean,
that'd be so Coyotes.
Yeah, it literally would be. So again, let us know, and you can get these odds hopefully soon on BetMGM, but there are odds all over. But as soon as they come up on BetMGM, I will let everybody know, because Shawn will be on the Devin Levi train, and I might throw a weenie bet on Logan Cooley just, to add something a little extra spicy as we watch Coyotes games this season. Craig, do you have anything else before we get out of here today?
No, just, we have an anniversary coming up here at PHNX.
We do.
I'm going to write something for the occasion, but I also want to talk about it a little bit on Friday. But you know what we're doing tomorrow on the show, or maybe you guys, because I may be swapping days that I'm going to the ice den, because I have another story coming on Monday, a little offbeat. Do you know what we're doing tomorrow, or you're doing tomorrow on the show?
I don't know, because we need to talk about this after.
Okay, we're not going to talk about this right now. We're ironing out our issues on the air, which is probably not a good idea. So there's a lot of stuff happening at PHNX right now. We can't talk about it all. Some of it. Yeah, never mind.
There's a lot of stuff. There's always a lot of stuff, which is why I think you should become a diehard. PD actually dropped a tease of what he was doing today in our Discord for the diehards only. Nice. So again, great perk. Craig sometimes will drop major news in the Discord before anybody else knows, and everyone's sworn to secrecy and does a mostly very good job keeping it a secret. I
was sworn to secrecy.
Yeah. But becoming a diehard, it gets you access to the Discord. It gets you 20% off merch, 20% off events, free shirt or hat when you sign up, and every year after you renew as well. So just a ton of great perks, as well as Craig's weekly diehard only stories on the website at gophnx.com. The mailbag, that's for diehards only, that's up, as well as weekly other stories. And Craig has a story planned for every single day that we're in Australia.
I keep adding to it, because I start thinking about, this is going to be from a coverage standpoint, this is going to be a really exciting season to cover. I have so many story ideas that are just brewing that I can't wait to get going on. I know I've been a little quiet on the writing front lately, but it's not because I haven't been working on written content. It's because I've been doing interviews and planning content, because Leah and I are going to hit the ground running once we get to, probably not running after that flight. Maybe
limping after being sore for sitting 16 hours.
Melbourne coffee.
That is true.
To perk us up.
And
I said perk. So good.
Still got it. Kitty and I will be drinking our K-cups here at the office. Don't worry about us.
Yeah, buddy. I got it. Well, never mind. We'll talk about that too.
We'll bring you back presents. Get ready for the giant stuffed koala that we will bring back for you. All right. Well, that's it for today. Hit the like button on this video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on audio, leave us a review. We really do appreciate it immensely. And be sure to subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel so you never miss when we go live. We'll be live at 11 a.m. the next 2 days, all next week. The week of Australia, anyone's guess, but we will inform you of our show times as soon as we know that week. But, we're here 5 days a week live, no matter what time as well. And of course, once the season gets going, we'll be back to doing post-game shows, which I'm really looking forward to. The vibes are immaculate during post-game shows, so it's going to be a ton of fun. But in the meantime, you can follow all of us on Twitter at SPetersHockey, at Leah Merrill, at Craig S. Morgan, at Shawn_to-pause, and follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes. If you haven't seen the video of PD at the dump, it's pinned to the top of our Twitter, and you can also find it on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. It is hilarious and quite possibly the best piece of content we've ever produced.
It's topping the charts in multiple nations right now. So.
Yeah, absolutely unreal. So everybody enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we will see you all tomorrow.